Here was good, everybody. Welcome back to another walkthrough of the Outer Worlds with your boy Mugen. As always, man, it's a pleasure and honor to have you here join me on another adventure and journey through the cosmos. As you already know, Space Cowboy Mugen the third. Let's get it, man. You were with me last time. We made it to Monarch. We landed on Monarch. We're already on the planet Monarch, but we made it to Stellar Bay. So, let's get it, y'all. Man, that alone, low key, might sometimes make living here worth it. Ain't nobody see that shit. Yeah, you definitely didn't see that, huh, Felix? Yep. Jesus. Oh my god, the switch is right there, bro.
Hey, hold on there. I gotta sign you in. Don't think I've seen you around. That means you must be new to Stellar Bay. You are new here, right?
You seem surprised.
You must have seen those UDL gunships on your way in. There's only 3 of them these days. Still, they tend to scare folk off.
What are they doing out
You
there?
may not have heard, you being new, but Stellar Bay hardly ever gets off-world traffic. Us being cut off by the board and all. Which means I never get to do this part, but I've been practicing, so here goes. On behalf of Monarch Stellar Industries, welcome to Stellar Bay, home of the freshest sal tuna and halcyon. Please state your name for the records.
I prefer to travel discreetly, if you know what I mean.
Don't be like that. I never get to do this part. Please.
Alright, man. Fine, I'm Captain Mugen.
Swell. There's one for the logs. I'm even gonna give you your own entry code. I'm not supposed to do that. It's against procedure, but Mr. Sanjar isn't so strict about the rules here. Besides, I got a lot of empty entries to fill.
You're not what I expected to find on Monarch. Stellar Bay really that isolated?
We don't get ship traffic in town. Only off-worlders who do make it out here are sublight. They got a base in Fallbrook. And thank the stars for them, or we would have run out of Rizzo's Purple Berry Crunch years ago.
You're not what I expected to find on Monarch.
That'll just make Mr. Sanjar's day if you tell him. The board makes up lots of nasty stories about raptidons and cannibals and whatnot. But that's all outside our walls. Mostly.
Did he just say raptidons and cannibals? I can't wait.
Are you saying the board's been lying about this place?
Oh, sure. They make Stellar Bay sound like a rotten place, but it's not so bad. Get a good breeze going, and the sulfur smell mostly covers up the fishy smell.
Ah, the nostalgic stench of home. Can't say I miss the day-to-day of living in Edgewater.
Anyway, Mr. Sanjar's got lots to say on that subject. Kinda goes over my head, though.
Grim. I'm gonna
Mr.
look
Sanjar will be
around.
mighty pleased to meet you. If you see him over at headquarters, maybe you could tell him I did a bang-up job of welcoming you? Oh, and if you're headed that way, maybe you could do me a favor?
It depends what
I
is
got
it.
this Rizzo's Rangers tossball poster coming in on the next sublight shipment, signed by the Black Hole himself. Only I haven't heard anything in a while. You think you could check with Celia to see if it's come in?
Who's the black hole?
Boss, come on. Black Hole Birdie, the Hole Meister, the Hack Attack.
That's Bertie Holcomb, only one of the greatest tossball hackers ever. Everyone's heard of him, even on Monarch. We still get some of the games. You been living in a sulfur pit or something?
Something like that. But why he's called the black hole?
On account of him being the best hacker who ever played. Nothing gets by him. He sucks up every ball that comes his way.
Maybe word that differently. Okay, that's all I ever need to hear about on that subject.
Whatever you say. I could talk tossball for hours.
Hmm. Poser sounds pretty valuable.
I couldn't really say I'm just a fan of the game. But the fancy collector types say the more people see these things, the less valuable they are. And I figure my poster's been passed around by more than a few people by now.
Sure, I can ask around.
Thanks a bunch. Celia works for Mr. Sanjar in the MSI building next to the bar. She's always there, so you can't miss her.
The MSI building, huh? Just like the name of my computer.
We're not the best equipped, but scouting for rats keeps us on our toes.
Let's go do that then. Oh, we're like right here.
Laws. Can't a man enjoy the smooth menthol flavor of a Stogie Slim in peace?
We got a lot of brass for a man doing absolutely nothing.
What I am doing, sir, is enjoying the moment. It's so rare that I can seize one apart from the jabbering masses of this wretched place.
What are you talking about? Your neighbors probably aren't missing your company either, come to think of it.
And how should they know what they're missing? I recall when Stellar Bay was a proper board-affiliated town with regular shipments of Auntie Cleo's best and all the cereals. Before Sanjar took over MSI and got us all booted.
But now you're all free from the board.
Yes, free to wallow in squalor together. Free to squabble with the iconoclasts over a raptidon-infested hellhole. Look, you're making me melancholy. Is there something you wanted?
Hey, look at that. Who's you?
And the little bastard's slippery, right? On account of its blood, so it's sliding all over the place, trying to crawl away. Getting so I can't tell the blood from the mud. But I gotta get in there, get right in that baby rap's stomach and dig it out. If so much as a drop of stomach acid got on that medallion, shit, I don't know what I'd do. Might be I'd hunt every damn rapt out there. Right. What are you staring? Wait. You ain't from around here. Who are you?
Mugen, are you always this drunk?
If you think this is drunk, I gotta, you need to get out more. Sit. Partake. Buy me a drink and let's chat.
I'm told you can give him two in there. Sure, another round.
Outstanding. What are you doing in Stellar Bay, stranger?
Just seeing what it's like for myself. People talk it up like it's a shithole.
It is a shithole. It's a free shithole, though. Plenty of ways to blaze your own trail. Folks seem to like that.
It is an admirable endeavor if misguided, and nearly impossible to achieve.
I ain't saying it's easy, but look around you. If it's impossible, it seems nobody's gone and told the people living here. Besides, the booze is good. Something about that fish oil. Cheers.
Cheers.
Well. Let's get down to brass nuts then, shall we? Brass... Wait, that ain't it. Brass rats? Let's talk business. I'm headed back out there after I sober up. You want a guide sooner than that? You'll have to get me something to clear my head.
Whatever.
Outstanding! Our dispensary here maintains a stock of, well, I don't rightly know what they are. Steroid or caffeine somethings? Pills. They're Very good. I'm cut off for the month, on account of needing one just about every damn day. But I'm sure you've got your wily ways. Fetch me one and we'll be all set.
You mean caffeinoid? That stuff just a stimulant.
Well, they work. We got a deal or what?
Alright, I'll be back. For the MSI dispensary. What's up, motherfucker?
Well, well. Isn't often we see new folk in Stellar Bay. First drink's on me, stranger. Enjoy. If you plan on sitting through Nyoka's stories, you might could use a few.
I could use a few and telling them myself.
Now what can I do for you?
I just play called the Yacht Club.
Thought it had a fancy ring to it. Name's the first advertising anyone sees, after all.
Are there any yachts in Stellar Bay?
Nope. But a man can dream.
You say you're not used to seeing new faces around here.
Not since Amber Heights. These days we have more leaving than coming. Off to join the iconoclasts or some such.
What happened at Amber Heights?
Bunch of marauders broke into the executive compound, slaughtered everyone. Corporations pulled out of Monarch not long after. I thought everyone knew. But then that was 10 years ago. Still feels fresh to us every time we look at our walls, though.
How well do you know Nyoka?
Anyone who spends any amount of time in this bar is bound to get to know Nyoka. On account of her being here so often herself. And I don't mean that unkindly. Anyone who's rid us of as many beasts as you have is entitled to a few drinks. Something else I can do for you?
Let me see what you have. Just nothing but booze, huh? Booze, booze, booze. You don't really got that much, bro. Alright. Let's get the hell out of here. Let's get the hell out of here, boy. Let's get the hell out of here. Just get the hell out of here. Let's get the hell out of here. Let's get the hell out of here. Dispensary, huh? What the fuck is this? That's just growing everywhere. It's like
Velma seem out of sorts to you?
She's always
mushroom.
cranky.
No, I mean more than usual.
Wouldn't know. I made it a point to stay out of her way.
I wonder who Velma is.
If Velma's capable of running the warehouse, she can certainly pick up her own caffeinoid.
Don't be so hard on her. With Brax missing, she's working doubles and needs a little edge.
Very well, dearie. But you stop by anytime you like. Hmm?
Thanks, I'll keep that in mind.
She try to hit this motherfucker? What's good, bro? Hey.
Sorry, I've got to get back to the warehouse.
I'm like trying to figure out who the hell Velma is.
Hello, dearie. Why, I don't believe I've seen you before. And with sweet cheeks like those, I'd remember. What can Auntie Abigail do for you?
I've been asked to pick
And
up
what a
a
helpful young man
caffeinoid.
you are. Nothing like a little pill to liven up the spirits. Who's your lucky friend, dearie?
Actually, the pills are for me.
I'm so sorry, but with the iconoclasts and the marauder filth chasing away what little trade we get, I'm afraid I have to reserve my supply for Stellar Bay residents. Our reserves have gotten so low, I've even had to start locking the supply room upstairs. Isn't it a shame what some people will do to get a little extra?
Oh, that's just awful.
Isn't it just? I'd make an exception for you if I could, my little cherub. Is there anyone else needing a special pickup from Auntie Abigail?
I don't know, Auntie. You'll have to pry that secret from my sweet little cheeks.
Aren't you a saucy thing? I may not be a fresh young thing anymore, but with age comes experience, dearie.
Uh-huh. Why don't you show me a thing or two?
Much as I'd love to. My rheumatism is especially fierce at the moment, and I'm all out of my medicine. But I'd hate to send you away empty-handed. You were here for Caffeinoid, weren't you? Who's it for?
This- Uh, I don't know. What if she don't like her? Uh, let's go.
Oh.
Yeah, I knew it.
It's none of my business, but I have told her Dr. Williams would bump up her monthly allotment if only she'd join MSI. Contribute like the rest of us. Now I've gone and said too much. And you know me, dearie. I don't like to pry.
When can Nyoka get her next dose?
I'm afraid it'll be the better part of a month. Our dear Nyoka tends to exhaust her supply rather quickly. Believe me, there's nothing I'd love better than to help you, but there's not much I can do. Dr. Williams managed the town's allotments from his terminal upstairs. Even I can't access them.
I thought you were in charge around here, Auntie. You sure ought to be.
Oh, you flatter an old woman. Me, I'm just here to be a pretty face for the customers. And to keep an extra key to the supply room, for all the times Dr. Williams misplaced his.
Remind me, what's supply room?
The one upstairs, where we store our medicines.
Interesting. Where can I find this Dr. Williams?
In the town graveyard, I'm afraid. Poor man was always searching for the flower of enlightenment. On the way, he tried some rather daring substance combinations.
The flower of enlightenment.
It's a philosophist's symbol of some kind, dearie. Never you mind. The graveyard's near the southern ruins. You're certainly welcome to pay our respects, but the bodies tend to attract beasties.
You're gonna go tussle with some raptidons? Because I've been practicing my dropkick.
Do be careful. I'd hate for anything to happen to you, dearie.
Should I intimidate her?
Chin up, dearie.
I was getting real annoyed at that bitch. I gotta use the bathroom. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Data storage. Notes from experiment. Rectum and pop you up. I don't know what that is. Render. File empty. Arkansas chapter. Motherfucker writing a book or something? Patient records. Caffeinoid storage is approaching critical levels. Levels. I think I can get the supply now. Oh shit, I walked right past it and shit.
Fresh blood at last. Stellar bacon.
Could I get another advance, Mr. Nandi?
Just make sure it's properly logged.
I'll note it next to the others, sir. Greetings, and welcome to Monarch Stellar Industries, producers and purveyors of the finest salt tuna in Halcyon. What can I do for you today? You know, sending you is the first bright idea I've seen from that man, because I told him to stop bothering me about it a week ago. I still don't know anything about it, but if you want to help him, Velma's the one to ask. She's in the warehouse. But I'll warn you, Grim wore her patience thin a long time ago.
Earlier, overheard you say you were having money trouble?
Not at all. Mr. Nandi treats us all right and pays us well. I just spent most of my paycheck on Raptidon acid.
Do you normally blow your money on Raptidon parts?
Laws, no. Sometimes it's canid teeth, or mantis worm wings. Whatever Sebastian has in stock, really.
If you got that many bits to spend, then I've got some trash to sell you. Why are you buying so much from Sebastian?
So I can talk to him, of course. He doesn't get going about much else. Sort of the strong, silent type. Unfortunately, my apartment's kind of filling up with his stuff. And some of the neighbors are complaining about the smell.
Just ask him on a date.
I couldn't. What if he says no? Hey, maybe you could ask him for me. I mean, a no would still be bad, but it won't be quite as embarrassing if you ask. Oh, Mr. Nandi's doing that thing where he breathes through his nose real slowly. I'd better get back to work.
Wait, I'm curious. What do you see in Sebastian?
He doesn't talk much, but he's got this quiet intensity, you know? Like there's stuff going on inside his head that you have no idea about. Plus, he's got great legs. It's hard to find a man who doesn't skimp on lower body exercises.
You really want to be with someone you can't talk to?
You think that's what I'm looking for? You're funny.
Rather fish in the sea, Celia.
Not in Stellar Bay. Everyone else who isn't taken either smells like salt tuna or they're my boss. Besides, a man with a good smile and a proportionate upper to lower body ratio isn't something to pass up. Sorry, sometimes I get carried away.
What you looking at?
Well, new business turns up at last. Celia, didn't I tell you our new statistics-based advertising model would be a hit?
That you did, sir.
How can yield improvements of 26.7% not quicken the pulse? How can 32% cost savings not moisten the loins?
You've often posed these very questions.
Clear my schedule. This newcomer has a meeting with me.
No. You have a meeting with me.
You hear that power play, Celia? They don't make them like this anymore in Halcyon. I only hope you don't judge me by my handshake. Now, what business brings you here?
I'm just looking for the information, bro.
Hiram? Why, he's probably still out at Devil's Peak. Not that he's had the courtesy to notify me, at any rate. But if you're here for him, I suppose that means you aren't here for salt tuna.
If I have to eat one more weird science project based off fast food in the spiral fucked colony, I'm going to stab someone. Yeah, I have to.
Yes, that's it. Channel your anger. I only wish I could do the same. I had hoped that livening up our advertisements with enticing figures would draw the other corporations back to our bosom, but it seems we're back to the drawing board.
If you're free of the other corporations, why would you want to bring them back?
Because he's scared to go it alone. You need the board to hold your hand and tell you everything's gonna be okay. Ain't that right?
Surviving alone isn't as easy as it looks. Thanks to the so-called hazard clause, Monarch has been cut off from the board's resources and protection for 10 years now. Now, we've kept ourselves in business by trading with individual corporations, but given the off-the-books nature of those transactions, such arrangements are precarious.
Sounds like you're freer than anyone else in Halcyon. Why not embrace
You
it?
talk like Graham.
Can't imagine why you'd sneer at the notion of a free colony. Could it be because you're an agent of the establishment?
I used to be young and idealistic too, but you can't run a city on high-minded ideals.
Exactly. Intellectualism fuels the train to mankind's future, but the tracks the train runs on are forged from practicality.
Sounds like something out of the chairman's own notes, Vic.
Yes, it's as though the good vicar has plucked the very words from my brain.
So what do you mean to do about it? That's a coward's answer.
I have people to look after. I need to be practical.
That's why Mr. Nandi here has a rather ingenious plan to get MSI restored to the board.
On our terms, mind you.
Are you out of your mind? You can't just go crawling back to your old masters.
Well, we can't continue to subsist like this either.
And if our advertising scheme hasn't borne fruit, then perhaps it's time we took matters into our own hands.
This lady knows what's going on.
It's true, our Celia is an alarmingly competent middle manager. At any other company, she'd be wasted in data entry. The plan she refers to is a two-pronged approach, and the first part involves seeing Stellar Bay properly defended.
You do seem to have a bit of a Raptidon problem. For how long did it take you to figure that you needed to defend your city?
Not long, but the devil is always in the details. And the salient detail here is a Bolt 52 cartridge. If you can get us what we need to rejoin the board, starting the Bolt 52, we'll be able to become one of the most productive and secure cities in Halcyon.
And you'll have a powerful ally on the board.
Oh, you mean this boat 52?
Oh, yes. I'm going to be up all night with this. All those blanks waiting to be filled, boxes waiting to be ticked.
Try to control yourself, sir.
Have you any idea how powerful this is? Corporations have been toppled with less.
You made it sound like you were sending me after a weapon.
But that's exactly what this is. The world isn't changed with guns and speeches, much as Graham and his followers would like to think, but rather with meticulous documentation.
And the dissemination of the proper ideals and information to those in the highest echelon of society.
Hearing that caused me physical pain.
On the contrary, I would say good documentation is for everyone. And the bill of liquidation/transfer Form 52 is one of the most formidable pieces of data entry in all of Halcyon. One false stroke can invalidate the entire document.
It's true. One of the old execs gave herself a stroke trying to fill out the exemption section.
What does the boat 52 do exactly?
For our part, a bill of liquidation/transfer Form 52 will protect our holdings on Monarch by temporarily assigning them to a pass-through entity once we drop our bomb on the board.
Wait, we're dropping a bomb on the board?
Sort of. Really, we're just going to blackmail them into offering us a seat at the table.
But really, whatever gets you excited about the idea, it's definitely a firm middle finger.
I could get behind that.
That's what I like to hear.
Bless you, baby.
I have reason to believe that one of the other corporations is operating on Monarch, illegally and in secret.
The board just can't let Monarch go, huh?
If we can find proof, I can use that as leverage to encourage certain powers that be to accept our Bolt 52 and reinstate us on the board.
Sanjar, you sly dog.
You really think so? I admit I've been hatching this scheme for quite some time. I just needed someone capable to help me carry it out. If someone is operating here, then Catherine's almost certainly supplying them out of Fallbrook. Perhaps she could be convinced to tell you where they are.
Sounds like you know her well enough yourself.
That's part of the problem. She has certain ambitions for Stellar Bay, and I fear my asking her would give her the leverage she's been looking for.
Don't get yourself worked up, sir. It's perfectly natural to have a healthy fear of her.
Oh, she's not fun scary like you, just scary. But that's why you'll
Just
be
scary,
equipped to
scary.
handle her. Once you, subtly work out where this corporate facility might be, bring back proof of its operation. Maybe some nice letterhead. Or someone working there. That would do it. A foolproof plan if I ever heard one. I'll leave the execution to you.
I meant Graham the landing park
I
guard.
see. And was his delivery of the MSI authorized greeting up to snuff?
That guy's a world-class moron. He did a bang-up job, bro.
Well, that's excellent. I'll see that your feedback makes it into his review. What else can I do for you? This has been my albatross. The great shame of my career. I give MSI everything. My work, my youth, my left kidney, and for years, I was a joke to them.
Your left kidney?
One of the executives required a transplant. I thought volunteering to donate might improve my prospects.
Did it?
Apparently not.
That's what you get for giving yourself so much over to a corporation.
Yeah, in charge of a scrap heap of a city. Abandoned by the board and surviving only through the hypocrisy of our trading partners. I hadn't thought of it that way. But perhaps there's something to that. Thank you for that. Was there something else? Then it's good that I keep such meticulous notes.
How did MSI get kicked off the board in the first place?
I've asked myself the same thing many times, especially seeing as the legal mechanisms we employed were part of the board's own bylaws.
Do you mean that you initiated your own removal from the
Not
board?
intentionally, though that's technically true. For many years, this planet was home to as many corporations as Terra 2. But back then, it was known as Terra 1.
Terra 1 and Terra 2? I see the board put their best people on that one.
Really? I always thought they were refreshingly straightforward names. After all, the whole point of terraforming was to make them Earth-like.
Here, though, the results were mixed.
And as the other corporations began to tally their losses, they decided to pull out.
But not MSI,
Our
right?
leadership at the time certainly wanted to.
And how did that work out?
Most regard Monarch as a lost cause. But there were others of us who saw an opportunity. The chance to improve working hours and conditions, to reform MSI from the ground up.
Reforms are for quitters, Sandra. How forward-thinking of
It's
you.
humane, but it's also good business sense. Exhausted, sick, and malnourished workers are not productive workers. Even a cursory review of the data bears that out. Anyway, we learned of a loophole in the corporate bylaws that would allow MSI to claim ownership of the entire planet once the other corporations pulled out, creating the perfect environment for us to enact these new reforms.
Who's this us and we you keep talking about?
Oh, well, there were surely other junior executives with more open minds, though none of them had the temperament to handle the paperwork.
Who are we talking about? You're being
But I was
cagey.
keeping my tone flat and maintaining eye contact. You weren't supposed to notice I was avoiding the subject.
This is why you've never been good with presentations, sir.
Very well. Many years ago, Graham Bryant and I used to be collaborators of sorts.
So he helped you make your case to the senior. Okay, who? Exactly.
Graham Bryant. He leads a group of extremists out in Amber Heights. But he used to be as much a part of the corporate machinery as any of us. Much as he likes to forget it.
So he helped you make your case to the senior executive.
Indeed. For all the good it did. MSI's then leadership wasn't enthusiastic. They insisted we'd be relocating to Terra 2 along with everyone else.
Yeah, here you are. Guess you missed your
Many of
transport.
us chose to stay behind. And as the most senior executive remaining, I ended up in charge of what was left of MSI. I moved forward with our planned reforms as well as our strategy to assume ownership of the planet. Yet not long after I renamed it Monarch, the other corporations dislodged us from the board and began an official campaign to paint us as lawless savages.
But why would they do that?
I don't know. Everything we did was legal and above board. We followed their rules, and yet they still found reasons to declare us outlaws.
Your first mistake was expecting the board to cut you a fair deal.
I understand the sentiment, but if we can't rely on some sort of framework, then what do we have? I do think there's something useful in a governing body like the board. Something that keeps us from anarchy, but I dearly wish it functioned differently.
So you used to work with Graham. You don't seem to think much of Graham.
He and his followers call themselves the Iconoclasts. Lawless anarchists, all of them. If anyone on Monarch deserves the reputation the board's pinned on us, it's them.
I will admit, I am keen to meet their leader.
Well, be careful what you wish for. Graham has a habit of ruining everything, and everyone.
Maybe you should give them a chance.
A chance? They've been doing this for years, and well, let's just say I know enough about Graham to be confident that he won't change. It isn't just that they drain our people and resources. Every radical act they commit cements Halcyon's image of us all as destructive rebels, and pushes us further from the rest of the colony.
So, what's the downside?
Shall I begin with the supply shortages, or the subtle but constant threat of annihilation? He's lucky the board doesn't take him seriously enough to keep more than a few UDL gunships patrolling Monarch.
An Earth Directorate assault cruiser would change his tune. It's almost a shame we haven't seen one around Monarch in a long while.
So you used to work with Graham. Why not mention that
As far as
earlier?
I'm concerned, the less said about Graham, the better. Graham seemed like a reasonable man years ago, and we both agreed that MSI's treatment of its workers was untenable. I thought reforms would be enough. I didn't realize you wanted to abolish the corporate system entirely.
What's a hazard clause?
It's a legal provision that gives the board the authority to cordon off any planet or location that it deems dangerous.
Sounds like the board gave themselves the power to arrest an entire planet.
They would say it's for the greater good.
And they invoked it on Monarch?
Yes, making all of MSI criminals in the board's eyes. Rather hard to run a business that way.
Why exactly do you want back on the board?
Why wouldn't anyone? They own nearly all the resources and infrastructure in Halcyon.
Yeah, and once you go back to him, they'll own your dignity too.
Without the board, chaos would overtake the system. Working within the established order isn't a principle to snub one's nose at, Captain.
To be on the board is to be part of the colonial community, and being cut off means slow strangulation.
They've treated you pretty roughly. Is it worth going back to that?
I'm not a man to put pride before progress. If membership on the board can ease our hardships and provide us with opportunities, then that's the path I mean to pursue. Besides, I'm hopeful that additional leverage on our part will allow us a more equitable relationship.
You just be careful. The board doesn't mess around.
Oh, believe me, I've learned that much. But I'm also not going to leave MSI at a disadvantage. My hope is to maintain the reforms we've managed here, and who knows? Perhaps once we're restored, we could spread them to other corporations. What can I do for you?
Man.
Smells like wrapped in here.
Oh, it does work. I bought some musk from Sebastian to cover up the saltuna smell.
Trust me.
Oh, it does
Word on
work.
Braxton?
Nothing. Don't know how much longer I can cover for him either. Give me those pills, will you?
Here you go. You know, you might consider a real night's sleep instead.
Look, you can tell Catherine the new shipment will be ready when it's ready, all right? She's welcome to come up here and pack boxes herself if she's in such a hurry.
Catherine says she'll shove you in a box if you keep running your yap like that.
Did she now? Well, I can see I was mistaken. Because if Catherine really had sent you, there'd be a lot more expletives in your message. I hope you can forgive my temper. This job has been running me ragged lately. First, my autoloader foreman stages a walkout, and now my chief pescatological health manager is missing.
Chief what?
Braxton. He's in charge of getting the fish fat, but also making sure they don't get too many tumors. He's a real wizard with pharmaceuticals, but he has creative notions of working hours. Comes with living in a free colony, I guess. We're not keen on rules for rules' sake around here. Means Braxton skips work sometimes, but it also means no company boss is telling me when I can take a shit.
These MSI types are living the dream.
Since you don't seem to be constrained yourself, maybe you could check up on him. He lives in the apartments. Tell him Velma said to get his lazy ass down here, or she might start noticing those extra drugs he's been taking from supply. Something else on your mind?
This lazy hacks down here.
Sublight boss out of Fallbrook. Handles most goods that come in or out of Stellar Bay. Has a mouth like a ground six spacer. Stealing's such a nasty word. Let's call it skimming. And yeah, let's just say I've noticed the sterile biotics we use for the fish would get used a little faster on Braxton's shifts. Someone would've if this were a corporate town. But we pride ourselves on giving people a little breathing room. Besides, the Spacer's Choice stuff we use is cheap enough. And Braxton knows how to get the saltuna, fat, and mostly tumor-free. Caleb Herrick runs the autoloader operators. He thinks I don't pay them enough for flipping switches and turning dials. He and his whole crew walked out. Say they won't come back unless I pay them more. Because we've got a budget, all right? And in case you haven't noticed, MSI doesn't exactly have a lot of spare bits on hand. Not on Monarch. Sanjar threw out the old work mandates and penalties. Sure, until your workers start making ridiculous demands. You mind slapping him around a little while you're at it? I'm joking. Mostly. Unless you can do it without hurting his job performance. If you can find a way to get him back to work, I'll make it worth your while. Unless you're here to tell me he's agreed to do his job again, I've got nothing to say. Hard workers? They turn dials and flip switches. The machines do all the actual work. Caleb and his crew have it better than anyone else around here, I'll tell you that much. I don't have the bits for it, plain and simple. Besides, if I make an exception for him, I gotta do the same for everyone.
She's principled, in at least this area. I will begrudgingly give her that.
Thank you. I think. If Caleb wants to keep this job, he'd better get back to it. I'm about ready to hire sublight contractors at this rate. For running me ragged while he takes an extended leave at the bar? Not on your life. Maybe so, but I bet you Caleb runs out of bits first. Then he'll have to come back. He says he's got a stash to tide his crew over. Could be he's all talk, but if the money's real, I bet you he keeps it at home. Near the diner. Fine by me. This again? I swear, this is the last time I contract for any special requests. You can tell Grim his poster came in. You can also tell him I got a better offer for it. So now it's going to Nell. That about cover it? Sure can. If you want to pay me more than Nell's offering. Sure. And once you finish helping me, then we can talk about the poster.
He's gonna give Grim's poster away. Didn't he pay for it?
No. I paid Sublight for it. So it's mine. And when Nell pays me for it, it'll be hers. Grim may have asked for the poster, but it's not his until I take his money.
You still have the poster, right?
It's staying locked up in my office until Nell shows with her money.
Who's now?
She runs the betting parlor across the way. Nice professional lady. She asked me about the poster once. Just once. Made a real generous offer, too.
She does sound easier
I
to
don't
deal
have
with.
time for Grim, even when I'm not working doubles. Sure can. If you want to pay me more than Nell's offering.
You want too much business if your neighbors hate you. Consider this an investment.
I got a feeling you and Catherine would get on like tumors on a pig. Take the poster then. And if I never hear another word about it, it'll be too soon. Stealing's such a nap. And yeah, let's just say I've noticed a sterile bio. We're not like those corporate towns. Besides, the Spacer's Choice stuff we use. Maybe so. He says he's got a stash. Fine by me.
Where the hell am I?
Have you had time to check on that poster yet? I keep wondering if it's come in. Sorry, I just get so excited, and I always feel like I miss everything that happens in town while I'm up here.
Ooh, you're the new face. Wow, you must be up on all the latest tossball games. So who do you follow? Wait, don't tell me. You look like a Hammersmith Thunder fan. No, Glacial H Mammoths.
I play for Auntie Cleo's Darlings. Don't you recognize me?
Darlings? Seriously? I mean, yeah, you're looking at the Darlings' newest recruit. Boss is a shoo-in for Rookie of the Quarter.
I'd heard they'd gotten a new hacker. Is that why everyone's making such a fuss about you? But what are you doing on Monarch?
It's part of a goodwill tour of Halcyon. We're meeting our fans across the colony.
Maybe we're not so isolated as I thought.
You get to listen to games all day? Stellar Bay really is a paradise.
It's pretty swell, but it's a whole lot better with company. Say, I don't think I've seen you before, and I'd remember that face.
I'll try not to be a stranger then. Name's Felix, by the way.
You should stop by more often. The games are always better when you've got someone to celebrate with.
Sounds like a good time. I wouldn't mind bringing a couple drinks and settling in for the pennant match.
Look at me, getting carried away again. So, what can I do for you?
Say you were having trouble receiving the tossball game transmission?
Graham's always filling the airwaves with this propaganda, like it's done him any good. All it means is the tossball games get to us in fragments. Makes them real hard to watch.
Well, anyways, I found this betting slip in a dead man's apartment. Any idea what happened to him?
Poor Isaac. I was wondering why I hadn't seen him in a few days. I'd really like to help. Isaac was a sweet fellow, even if he did have terrible teeth.
What did his teeth have to do with anything?
They were pretty distinct. Monarch doesn't exactly have a thriving dental industry, and Isaac seemed to get stuck in all sorts of bad habits.
dietary and otherwise. Sometimes he'd drink purpleberry punch by the liter, other times he'd keep betting on a losing team. Started owing the wrong people money.
So who did he owe?
I don't know for sure, but I saw Elijah and his buddies pushing Isaac around. They're hooligans from Fallbrook. They sweep into town, drop supplies off behind the warehouse, and spend the rest of their stay getting rowdy over tossball games. They usually loiter in the alley behind the yacht club. They're not allowed in the bar anymore. I bet you anything Isaac ran into trouble with one of them.
Thanks for the tip.
Mr. Sanjar will be pleased to hear about it when you're done. I know he gets fed up with the Fallbrook bullies, but there's not much he can do.
Oh, y'all want to kill somebody, huh?
I hear those rich people in Byzantium pay a handsome bit for
Y'all want to kill somebody, huh?
Bet they also pay to make it stink.
Y'all want to kill somebody, huh? Y'all want to kill somebody.
What are
I
the
see.
chances of all the times and places we could have been born?
Yeah.
We're here, light years from Earth, going about our lives.
Every time the punch clock...
Wrapped musk and canid eyes, right here.
Sir, please, I need your help. I contain. Oh, thank you for stopping. Everyone acts like nothing's wrong, like my little boy isn't at risk of being eaten by some vile creature. Please, you have to help me get my little Tucker back. He ran away, and is... Don't you tell me to calm down. I promised my boy I'd protect him for always. But how can I keep him safe if he's run away? He ran out into the wilderness a few days ago. I warned him about the raptidons, mantisaurs, and marauders, the toxic sulfur pools and poisonous plants, but he didn't listen. Please, won't you go and find my boy?
Why would Tucker run away?
He's been pining for an adventure. Says he's tired of living cooped up behind the walls. But he doesn't understand how dangerous it is out there. I warned him. A raptidon would snap him up first chance it got. I just know one's ripped his arm off and is gnawing on his sweet little fingers. He should have listened to his mama. I promised I'd keep him safe here with me.
Where would he have gone?
He's been listening to those awful broadcasts that the iconoclasts put out. I begged Sanjar to put a stop to them, but did he? No! And now I just know my boy's run off to Amber Heights. That is, if a manta queen hasn't spooled out and eaten his entrails for breakfast already.
Where's
That
Amber
old
Heights?
settlement, southwest of Stellar Bay. I don't know which is worse, the thought of my son shacking up with the nutty iconoclasts, or that he never made it. Sprats could be nesting in his rotting body alongside the road as we speak. Or maybe marauders got him, pulled all his teeth out, crushed him into their drugs and made him snort them. Oh, the things that could happen to my sweet baby.
What were you saying about the Ironclast?
Those low-life degenerates, leading innocent boys into a life of danger. Oh, they make it sound so exciting. Like it's noble to risk it all out there, fighting for the greater good.
Not sure I'm seeing the problem here.
You're one of them, aren't you? You should be ashamed of yourself, young man. Just as your mama would be. How noble is it to worry your loved ones? Not at all, I say. But still they preach their sermons of anarchy and rebellion to anyone who listened. If they weren't holed up in Amber Heights, I'd knock them all upside the head. Thank you. Oh, I know he'll be safe now that someone's able to fetch him home. You look for him in Amber Heights, you hear? It's down the road southwest of town. I'm sure he made it that far. I just know it. And if you find any of them iconoclasts indoctrinating my boy, you punch them in the mouths. Tell them what I think of them luring little boys away from their mamas. It's immoral.
who the fuck?
Hey, what are you doing here? This is our secret alley. Berta already pissed by those crates to market. Listen, that purple-toothed twerp had it coming. Not that anyone has proof. And not that it's any of your business.
I'm making it my business.
Oh yeah? What are you saying exactly?
You bully people long enough, if you know what's good for you, you clear out and get the fuck out of here.
Wow. Most of the pencil pushers around here cave as soon as you look at them funny. Fine, we're going. This ain't worth it.
Fuck out of here. Fuck out of here. Yeah, I don't got what it takes. Told the motherfuckers to clear out, and they cleared the fuck out.
Who wants to play an impromptu tossball match? No one?
Hello, stranger. Can I interest you in Raptidon tongue? Or maybe some canid toenails? You look like a man who's looking for some mostly fresh animal parts?
Why would I want any of that, bro?
I don't know. Celia usually buys whatever I have, and Mr. Pickett seemed real interested. So I thought maybe I was onto something.
Mr. Pickett?
He came to Stellar Bay years ago, just before the board cut us off. Ended up stuck here. He was always real interested in our monsters. Mantiqueens, especially.
Why was he interested in Mantiqueens?
Who wouldn't be?
People who value self-preservation, Sebastian.
Now that just sounds like a fancy way to say boring people.
This guy's a fucking idiot.
Sure, they're real big. Hard to miss them.
Where have you seen a Mantiqueen?
Well, I could send you to the same place I sent Mr. Pickett. But I haven't seen him in a few weeks. To tell true, I'm starting to get a bit worried about him. Tell you what, I'll tell you where I sent Mr. Pickett if you promise to look for him. Help him out if he's got himself in trouble. Fair deal?
Sure, I can keep an eye out.
All right then. Leave town through the southern gate, the one right here, and head past the abandoned ruins. Last Mantiqueen I saw was in the wilds out that-a-ways. Could be Mr. Pickett still out there too.
About Mr. Pickett.
Yeah, you find him yet?
Where should I look for him?
I sent him past the ruins just south of town. He was hunting for a Mantiqueen out there.
Okay then. Let's talk about Celia.
Huh. I haven't seen her in a few days, but I've been meaning to ask her how that Raptidon acid is working out. I hope it's working okay, because no one else really seems interested in this stuff.
Would you consider going on a date with her?
Wait, I see what's going on. She put you up to this so she could get a discount, hmm? Don't get me wrong. I'd like to give her a discount. She's a real fine lady. Always talks nice and slow, so I understand. But if I give her one, I won't hardly make a bit, on account of no one else having any use for Raptidon tongues.
Don't take my word for it. Spend some time with her. I promise she won't ask for a discount.
You sound pretty sure. And she is awful nice. Okay, I'll do it. Once her shift ends, we'll go someplace nice. Maybe to Chef Raymond's.
That fool was just randomly right there.
Thank you again for retrieving the bolt. It's every bit as complex as I'd heard, but I'm up to the challenge. Anyway, what can I do for you?
Isaac Rose is dead. I found the people who killed him.
That's terrible. What happened?
It was Elijah and his hooligan friends. I ran them out of town.
I'm glad to hear you've dealt with them. They've been causing quite a bit of trouble around town. I've been consumed with other matters of late, but I would have dealt with them eventually.
Of course you would have.
Of course I would have. Still, your intervention in the matter is much appreciated. Please consider this payment for your services.
All right.
Hold on to your hats, children. This ride is about to get ugly.
We gotta go exploring. I want to see some savages. Right. Score one for Felix.
Dudes never stood a chance, man. I wanted to come out here. Cause we're gonna have to come out here anyway, so I wanted to see where this dude's body was at. Might as well get the most out of quests sometimes. I don't know, I like doing that. I don't know if that's just me or anyone else.
Heads up! How does it feel?
How does what feel?
Serving an instrument of corporate supremacy?
Let me hazard a guess. You're talking about the church.
Isn't it true the OSI is just a cog in the machine of oppression?
I'm glad you're asking questions, Felix. Curiosity is the foundation of the scientician faith.
Don't try and convert me, preacher.
Don't try to convert me, you preacher.
Velma seem out of sorts to you?
She's always cranky.
Hello again, dearie. What can I get you? Such a pity, isn't it? But I suppose it's an important reminder that one can have too much of a good thing. Hello again, dearie. Now that can't be. Ms. Ramnareem Wentworth has already exceeded the month's... Oh. Dear me. She does have another dose in her allotment. How did I miss this?
Don't worry about it, Auntie. I'm sure you've been busy.
My, but you are a doll. Here's Nyoka's caffeinoid, and if I know her, she's probably ready for it by now. Do take care of yourself, dearie.
You're back. Good news? Bad news? All of the above?
You got your magic pills. These things are dangerous, you know.
More or less dangerous than a steady supply of alcohol. Give it here. Whew, that hits the spot. Right in the, oh, no, there it is. There it is. Yes.
Fucking eyes
We're in
open the fuck
business.
up.
Let's go.
Glad
Great.
to have you.
Where to?
Let's find the information broker.
Oh, Hiram? I ain't checked in on that man in an age. He's running the giant radio tower we lovingly call Devil's Peak. We'll be going south and west, mostly along the road till we're past Fallbrook. Out there, there's a western slope that'll lead us through some fun. You like hunting, right? That's fun. If you're more of a spelunker, Rotting River will take you into the mountain caverns. We can discuss options when we get closer. That said, 3's already a crowd. I don't mind waiting somewhere until you got a spot open.
Felix, wait on the ship. We need Nicoya's help for now.
Long as you've got my back, I'll have yours. Welcome to the unreliable crew.
You look like a preacher. You a traveling vicar?
In a manner of speaking.
Stellar Bay had a vicar once. He took it upon himself to convince Graham's folk to come back to the corporate fold. Kept making the trip between the city and Amber Heights by foot. Kept getting himself into all sorts of scrapes. The day came when I found a book of his in the middle of a rapt encampment.
That whole
And still
trail.
gripping it, too.
The plan unfolds as the plan unfolds. To Vicar and layman alike.
Join me for a second, will you?
What's up?
Hey, got a favor to ask you. Figure while we're out here in the wilderness anyhow, we might stop in on an old friend of mine. Preferably before we get to Hiram's. It's on the way, don't worry. You don't seem the type to run off and get yourself killed, and I could use the help.
Well, I definitely don't plan on getting myself killed.
Well, we'll see about that. I'll be upfront with you. I hate asking for help. I hate it. Every time I give someone the opportunity to disappoint me, they seem to make it their most immediate goal. But this, what I'm thinking, it's dangerous. Nothing we can't handle.
Alright, let's hear it.
I used to run with a band of hunters. Friends. 6 of us. We were on Monarch when the corporations pulled out, and we helped a lot of people pick up the pieces. I haven't seen 2 of them in years, and the rest I know to be dead. I'd like to gather their effects and bury them all in the same places, like the family we once were.
How do you know they're dead?
I saw it happen. Hell, one of them was in my arms at the time. His name was Hayes, and he's our first stop. I buried him a ways from our encampment. I'll show you where he rests. He had a medallion in his effects. That's what I'll bring home to bury.
Where's home?
A long time ago, we built an encampment in one of Monarch's cave systems. Trouble is, a Mantiqueen showed up and kicked us all out. If we can find Rebecca and Anders, they'll know how to lure her out. Then, we kill the bitch and bury everyone's medallions together.
Sounds fun, let's go.
Thanks, Cap.
Captain, Felix and the Vicar are arguing again.
You don't think that's a problem? Whole ship's running on a computer's fancy. That'll make you nervous, Preacher?
No, Felix. The concept of a ship computer does not make me nervous. Are you scared of Ada?
I ain't scared of Ada.
Good. I'm glad we cleared that up.
It's just, she's a computer, Max. What happens when her equations tell her to cut off her oxygen? Or blast us all into space?
Felix, Ada is not sentient. She can't act out of a sense of malice. Where do you get these ideas?
I was watching True Stories of Mechanical Murderers last night.
One of these days, I'm going to make you read an actual book.
What the fuck? And then Sam comes out of nowhere, bro. Alright, y'all. It's your boy Mugen saying peace. And as always, it's been a pleasure and honor having you join me on this journey, man. I love y'all. Y'all stay safe. Y'all stay blessed, man. We out here. Until next time. If you like this video, hit that like and subscribe. Peace, man.